feels just right. I can't explain it. It feels so simple.
What's up everybody, welcome to a brand new video. My name's Gareth MacD and this is going to be the first video in our series how to build a realistic model airport. Now the first thing you want to do, and this is an important thing, is pick an airport you want to create or build in model form. So I use Google Earth as a starting point and I just scroll around the world, zooming in on every airport I find just to get an idea of what I might want to build and just to get some inspiration. It's really important just to decide what you want to go for. You can go for any airport in the world, or if you don't even want to build a realistic airport, you can just find ground foils you like, copy those in the next few steps, and then create your own airport from that. So I was just spinning around the globe. There you could see we were in Melbourne. Give it a twirl, and then I would just randomly zoom in on my cursor, and I was just looking at all the different airports, all the architecture, all the structures, the ground foils, just everything that makes it an airport. This is why I decided to go for Google Earth, because you can just quickly get around. Here we now are in Paris, and we're going to zoom in on Paris Charles de Gaulle. And probably the most impressive feature of Google Earth that helps a lot with making a model airport is this 3D buildings it can produce. So this is obviously really helpful because it just shows you what the building looks like and gives you a mental idea of what you're going to build and allows you to achieve this. So as you can see here in Paris, we got this nice 3D model of the terminal. Super helpful because it allows you to see what you're going to build and get an idea. So I recommend you go for any airport you want. Obviously size is pretty important, so just make sure you're not going too big. In the end, I decided to go for Los Angeles International Airport, or LAX, and Tom Bradley International Terminal. So here you can see it loading in, and here you can see the 3D buildings. Even it tries to model the planes in 3D, which is very impressive. I don't know how they do it, but you can see the gates, where the air bridges are positioned, how the terminal intersects, so you get this full idea of what you're getting yourself into, and you can look at the building. So some reasons I went for this is because I thought the architecture on the building was just stunning. It is very big, it's an international terminal, so I can fit in all my international models, and it looked like a proper challenge. Just to show you how good this tutorial is going to be, I went hard to prove to you it works in the hardest cases, and therefore you can apply it to every airport in the world. So once you've found your airport, I recommend just familiarizing yourself with it, scrolling around, having a look at the terminal, parts you want to build. As you can see, this was a bit under construction, so that's going to be another hurdle in our way, but we'll get through it. So I think it's important just to touch on what I'm going to be creating. I'm going to be building Tom Bradley International Airport. This terminal was recently redone in 2010, so it's modern, and it was rebuilt at a cost of $4.11 billion US. It has 28 gates 130 to 159, and handles 29 airlines and 10 million passengers per year. I thought this terminal's architecture was immaculate. It has a lot of international gates, so I can fit all my models in, and I thought it just looked stunning. So it would be a good challenge to try replicate in model form. Once you've decided on your airport, you're going to use Google Earth's measure tool just to get an idea of how big everything is. This is a really important step because we're going to convert these meter distances to the size we're going to need to buy our board, which is our next step. So to do that, you're going to just click on a point on the map and measure by dragging, and then click on another point when you are done with your measurement. Then to convert it, you're going to divide that number by 400. For example, here this bit is about 730 odd meters. So dividing that by 400 gives you about 184 centimeters, or for those in feet, you can just use a converter from there. I think you can change the 2 feet on Google Earth as well, which is helpful. You want to make sure you get all your measurements because you want to make sure your airport's going to fit, or you're going to want to make sure you don't have too much boring parts of the airport, just things that aren't terminal, or parts of the airport that are just repeated over and over again. There's a lot of taxiways here, so I don't want to stay too much on those taxiways on the left and right of the terminal. And once you've done that, you can create the perimeter by just clicking and dragging until you've selected all 4 corners, and joining those together, you'll get all your sizes and you can adjust it. This is what we're going to be building. This is the part of the airport I decided to go for, and that is going to be turned into our model form. The next step was to go to the hardware store. Unfortunately, store 1 didn't have, but store 2 did. This is to buy a backboard or large piece of wood that you're going to stick the foils on, and it's going to form your airport. Here I'm measuring it. I'm 6 foot tall, so you can see the size of the wood needed for this. Here is the piece of wood getting cut, just so it could fit in the car to be transported. The piece of wood you see there is the scaled down 1:400 version of what we measured out on Google Earth earlier. So just remember that these boards can get very big if you take on too much area, so it might be best to build your first realistic airport smaller. This is the white boards all placed down. I use white faced wood when I do this just because it allows me to stick it on better, and I think it looks nice. Horizontally, it's about 174 centimeters long, and then if we flip it vertically, it is there's my dog Jessie. She's been a great help with the project. You can just see the scale of the board itself, and I put down a model plane just so you can see how big this board actually is. So that's a Boeing 787-9, which isn't a small aircraft, but it just shows the size of the board. Next on, we're going to have to start creating the airport foils. For this, I use this website, which I will leave a link to in the description. I looked through more than 10 different satellite imaging websites and found this one had the most accurate and best looking ground foils. So once you open up the map, you're going to go to the airport you're building, and I recommend just scrolling around and getting a feel for the airport you're currently using. Here you can see I'm going to start with this gate, so I'm just having a look around, and look how good those foils look. I thought this had the most accurate satellite image, so I did all the research for you guys so you didn't have to. So just click the link in the description, drag the world around until you find the airport you're building, zoom in and have a close look. It just also allows you to see what you're going to be undertaking. This is the foil we're going to start with. Once you've found the part or piece you want to start with, I use the snipping tool on Windows. If you on Mac, just take a screenshot of the first part from the map. So here I am taking a snip, I always forget what to call this tool, of the first gate we're going to be building. So you just drag it out, save it as a screenshot, and that's going to be the first foil we're going to work on. The next thing to do is load that satellite image up into a photo editor, and we are now going to take that satellite image and convert it to a ground foil. I'm going to be showing a time lapse of me doing that process and explaining it. Here I just wanted to show you layer by layer how I edited it from a satellite image to a ground foil without it losing its accuracy. So you can see as stage by stage, I'm just cleaning it over and over again until it is at a point where it's a ground foil and no longer looks like a satellite image, but has kept all its details. Moving along, we have a time lapse of me doing that process, converting from satellite image to ground foil, and it's going to depend heavily on the photo editor you use or paint shop you use. I use the clone tool a lot, and the idea for this stage is to watch tutorials and learn how to use the tools in your photo editor. If you want help with this particular one, I use Corel Paint Shop Pro. Leave a comment below and I'll make sure I help you. I use the clone brush, which allows you to take a snippet of the image and paint it over another part of the image. In this stage, you're going to want to remove all 3D objects. So the gateways, the terminal, cars, and shadows. This is going to flatten the image out and take away all those things that actually aren't a part of the ground foil out. This time lapse took me a long time because I was in the experimental stage. I wasn't sure what I was doing and how to use it, but it's trial and error, and I recommend you grapple with the process as well when trying to do your own ground foils. So the next step I did once I'd completed using the clone tool, I used the line tool and painted on the lines using paint. I then painted over all the lines that were present in the airport to give it a darker effect and pop out even more than it already had been doing. I'm going to leave you guys in the time lapse. Remember, if you need help with this part, comment below and you can help each other out what photo editors you used and how you managed to do it. Enjoy the time lapse. You're going to want to print your ground foil out next. I just placed it down on the board just to get an idea of how the foil looked, and I was very happy with it. So in the next episode, we're going to move on using this technique for all our foils and start making some progress with the actual board and sticking down the foils. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please smash like if you did. Part 2 will be out next week, so you guys can catch up to me. Here are some photos of the aircraft in its final foils, just to show you guys how realistic and cool this looks. Obviously, we're going for a photorealistic model airport, and this has been part 1 of how to build it. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Watching the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when